Hey, good afternoon. Keith Andrews here, coming to you from Birmingham, Alabama. Agent number 0001. I'm 0001. I say that because we're going to get it to 10,000 advisors sometime in the future with the XP commercial. So I'm claiming 0001. Anyway, that's just trivia. So I'd like to welcome the six of us who are here today. Not quite sure where everybody is. It's Thursday. Maybe not used to the new calendar yet or the new date, but we do have one new face, and we'll go ahead and let Tommy introduce himself and tell us anything you want to tell us. Tommy, what's going on? What do you do, or where
Yeah.
are you? Things like that. So go for it.
Anything I want to tell you that's dangerous, Keith.
Yeah, we'll give
Uh,
you at the most 5 minutes.
it is recorded, so I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, this goes out
Um,
to a lot of people.
Perfect. Yeah. My name's Thomas Bratchy. Feel free to call me Tommy. I live and work in Dallas, Texas. I kind of focus on a niche of the kind of a subset of the real estate market. I cater to 1031 exchanges, not exclusively, but I do put on 1031 exchange education events and networking events, not just in the DFW, Texas area, but across the country. Just got back from Colorado and Hawaii just a couple of days ago. I'll be going to Arizona in a couple of days as well. But the reason I do that is I kind of become the subject matter expert for mineral rights. That's the niche I'm talking about, kind of within the niche of 1031s. Um, just a little caveat, you don't have to do a 1031 exchange. It's just underserved. And that's also where I can provide the most value with my commercial clients and partners. You might have money left over in a 1031 exchange, boot money. In the mineral asset class, you can deed down to the penny. So I can help optimize your 1031s. And, we obviously, have referral incentives for introducing me to your clients without
Excellent.
hijacking the meeting. That's kind of where I fit in with the commercial folks. It's, you might be in close proximity to high net worth individuals. That's always great, but particularly with commercial is I help optimize your 1031s and defer those capital gains on any boot money you have remaining.
Before we ask questions, I want to ask a different question
Yeah,
because not only are you new to our meeting today, but you're just new to EXP Commercial.
that's
So
true.
most of us here have said in the past, why did we come to EXP Commercial? So
Oh.
feel free to tell us what happened.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I had my license hanging with Keller Williams for a while, mostly collecting dust, right? But I sponsor these triple C events. Some of you I think, well, some of you I know are familiar. I met Eric Clark at one. I met you at one.
Yeah,
Keith.
the CCC, the one in
That's right. The
Dallas.
CCC
Yeah,
events. There's a Dallas chapter that I sponsor every other month. Um, and that allows me to have the microphone for in 5 to 10 minutes and kind of give you a little more detailed version of what I just gave you. But essentially Eric and Keith as well, and they kind of overheard my bit last time, which was January. We just had our set bi-monthly event yesterday as well, but during January's event, Eric pulled me aside and kind of gave me the rundown on how EXP could kind of help get the word out, if you will, because this is very
yeah.
niche knowledge. This is very uh people aren't Googling this. Even knowledgeable, real estate folks typically aren't looking into this very heavily. So kind of using EXP commercial as a catalyst for my message while also helping build up uh you know fellow EXP agents while they have conversations with their clients, because I can be kind of that resource for the fellow agents and brokers here, to help deliver value for the clients that they probably aren't hearing elsewhere. So
Questions for this young man? Comments?
I have a question. When you do your mineral rights, so you're
Mhm.
combining that with a property to do their 1031. It's not like you have a business sale and it's just specifically because they can be separated.
Correct. Yeah, these are all severed mineral rights, which is the case for most mineral rights, not all. But these are all severed mineral rights. It's deeded real estate. It's technically a for sale by owner transaction, which is what makes it 1031 compatible. It's what gives it that like kind designation. Sometimes people that sometimes having a conversation with people that are a little familiar with it is more difficult than people that are totally green, because people that know a little bit about oil and mineral rights, they think about the working interest side of the business, which is not 1031 compatible, and that just causes confusion. So there's really two sides to the coin, if you will, in that space. One is called working interest. That's where you're investing in the wells themselves. That's where you're wildcatting or exploring the high risk stuff you hear about on CNBC. That is not what I'm a part of. What I'm a part of is the other side of the coin. It's usually just attributed with a blanket term called minerals. But what that means essentially is comparing it to like a landlord tenant relationship. You become the landlord of those minerals, and then the Exxons and the Chevrons of the world become your tenants. And then whatever they operate on your property, you get your net royalty interest payment every month, kind of like rent. I usually make a joke in my seminars that Exxon's not late on their bills. You might be dealing with tenants that are, late or cause other headaches. And it also comes with the added luxury of no maintenance, no toilets, tenants, trash, all that fun stuff. But without talking your ear off, that's kind of the answer there.
Wow. I've never really even thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like I said, nobody Googles it. You don't think to Google this stuff.
yes, because the first thing that pops up, Tommy, is everybody says, wait, how's that fit the rules of
Uh-huh.
like kind for like kind?
Yeah.
You
It
just
doesn't,
explained it. It's
yeah, it
generic,
doesn't meet the
baby.
common sense definition of like kind. You just have to use the Internal Revenue Code's definition of like kind.
Yeah,
And since it's deeded real estate for deeded real estate,
there
it's
you go. That's it.
name in their eyes. They're like, there you go. It's real estate. It's real property. Done.
Love it. Love it.
Yep.
What I thought was really awesome about it too, when Tommy explained it to us in Dallas, was that, you know, and Tommy, you can clarify this if I misstated, but a large area could then be subdivided and deeded accordingly, which means if somebody's got, 2 million to 5 million to 13 million, it's really easy per million to identify a deed. And you might speak to that. And also you might speak to what kind of returns you see for your clients, Tommy, and the way they can access and then exit the
Yes.
both of those are important. I think as you share within this group within EXP, you want to highlight that because that's important.
Yeah, yeah. A couple questions in there, and they're all very important pieces. One is I usually phrase it as you can deed down to the penny in this asset class. You can't do that with a house or a office building, right? You can't just say I want the deed to the doors or the hallways. Just you can't do that. But in the mineral asset class, for using one of Eric's examples, for easy math, let's say I have a $10 million mineral property, but your 1031 exchange has $601,000 left over in boot. Well, I can bifurcate that deed, so to speak, into two separate standalone, unequal sized deeds.
Really?
So I will bifurcate $601,000.10 for that example into its separate standalone deed. You identify that property as one of your replacement properties. Now you've optimized your 1031 exchange in that $20 million exchange. Maybe you have, let's just make it even easier math. You have $9.5 million apartment building or a Starbucks strip mall, what have you. And then the 500,000 left over, that other property is a mineral property that you identified. Now you've deferred the capital gains on that remaining 500 or $600,000, and it cash flows. So not only are you not spending a couple $100,000 in capital gains, you're getting monthly cash flow from, say, Exxon, Chevron, et cetera. And there's other tax advantages too. In Texas, there's no property tax. That's huge. On mineral properties, that is. Texas hits you over the head in traditional real estate, but in mineral deeds, zero property tax. You have an ad valorem tax, but it's peanuts. On $1 million property, it'd be less than $1,000 a year normally. Just don't miss the payment. And then the monthly income you get from the royalties are tax advantaged. You're only taxed on 85% of your monthly income. It's called the depletion allowance. It's section 613 and 613A. I just looked that up recently, so it's still committed to memory of the tax code that lets you do that. You had another question. I think it was it's about control, right? Sometimes I compete with DSTs in this space, and DSTs have their space. For those of you that aren't familiar, DST is a Delaware statutory trust. It's like the exception to the like kind rule, where you can invest in a security, real estate based security, but that has lock-in periods that are 3, 5, 7+ years. The returns, they're not great. You're looking at 4, 5, 6% cap. If you're getting 7% in a DST, you're crushing it. So with that being said, with the mineral property, it's like owning a house. You're in control because it's deeded real estate. You're the owner, so you can sell it whenever you want. You can 1031 back out of it because this doesn't typically meet the typical portfolio of holders of commercial property, right? But when the numbers make sense from a tax deferral and cash flow perspective, exceptions are made, and that's honestly the friction that I run into is the education piece and all that. But that's how that typically works. And then sometimes they hold on to it just for the diversification of cash flow in their portfolio, but sometimes they'll sell it. There are secondary marketplaces. It's not MLS. It's not CoStar. Although I have listed some properties on Crexy, but they stand out like a sore thumb because I'm one of the only guys doing that. But as far as using a third-party marketplace, there's U.S. Mineral Exchange. There's some others. They charge pretty hefty fees though. So I encourage people, don't require. If you're looking to sell it after you acquire it, just come back to me. I'll help you sell it, and it'll be a lot cheaper than going through one of those other parties.
Tommy, what's a minimum hold on that? Like if I put 500,000 in it today, what's the minimum hold and what should I hold it for? How long?
Yeah. So technically, since you're in control, there's no minimum hold, right? There are strategies that, can be from property to property that can be discussed on maybe an optimal period if you're looking to get in and out for whatever your strategy is. I might get into the weeds here a little bit with that response, but almost the majority of our properties are all of them are either imminently producing or currently producing. When I say imminently producing, they have what's called permitted wells, which means imminent cash flow. And that's what you want as long as you're willing to wait, 3 to 5 or 6 months before your first check. Which gets me to my final question, and I think it'll answer yours too, Paul, is Eric's last question, if I'm remembering correctly, is the returns, right? So typically, if you average it out, you're looking at a 12 to 20% annual. We go by ROI in this space, not cap. It's similar, but just want to make that distinction on your investment, paid monthly. But the reality is that's oftentimes an under promise, over deliver scenario. The reason I bring that up is when a new well goes online, it's referred to as flush production. It's like opening up the soda can for the first time or the soda bottle for the first time. It's high pressure. The first time you open it, it'll never open the same way after you reseal it, right? So you're going to get a lot of your capital back, your purchase back in the first 18 to 24, 36 months. And then it kind of sobers up, if you will, in that 12 to 20% range. But that's also what a lot of people find attractive about it. It lets them redeploy a lot of their capital very rapidly compared to most other asset classes. And then there's also what we refer to as upside. If they add new wells, when they add new wells, you get paid all that flush production all over again, combined with the old wells. You never get a cash call because you're not on the working interest side. You're on the mineral side. So that's how people make their multiples. But if you're waiting for new wells to go online, you're in it probably for a longer term hold. If you're looking just for as a safety net, which we're used for that all the time, just to not have to pay those capital gains in a 1031 exchange, I can help you find buyers in the shorter term if you're wanting to get into something that fits your typical portfolio.
I got 2 questions.
Sure.
I love the topic right now. So
Yeah.
Yes.
the first one, and you've been asked this, I don't know the answer because I never thought to ask this question.
Sure.
Spring water, is that minerals?
It can be, but I will be honest with you, I'd have to defer that question.
Okay.
The properties that I deal with are all in the Permian, not all, but 99% of them are in the Permian Basin, which is West Texas and southeastern New Mexico.
Okay.
That is oil, and to a smaller degree, natural gas. Typically, the compositions are about 95% oil. Most of the remainder is 5% is natural gas. There's some other trace liquids and elements that you do get paid on, but it's negligible. They break it down in the revenue statements you get every month. But essentially, that leads me to one other point. I know you have another question, but if I can get this piece out, it's not risk-free. Obviously, nothing is. The 2 primary variables, so I call them risks, is the price of oil and the production that comes out of your property every month. So right now, oil's been bouncing between like 65 and $80. Most of our models, we shave that down a little bit just to be conservative for our projections. But conversely, if oil shoots back up to 110, 120, you're going to grumble at the gas pump, but you're going to laugh your way back from the mailbox type of situation.
Sure.
But you had one other question.
Well, just on the spring water,
Mhm.
I don't know if that fits in that category minerals, per US or per the world. Second question is, when you come east of you, which I know Eric and I both have dealt in this world, and that is all the other minerals. We're talking about rocks. We're talking about earth type
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
That fits into your world too. If we're
It does.
1031s,
We-
is it? And I have an owner. Wait, Barbara. I have or Nancy. I have an owner who has a lot of property here in Alabama. Eric knows this. There is rock and stuff under it. If he decides if I say, look, maybe I could bring some buyers to him for the minerals, he'd be willing to. No, that makes sense for Eric. You shaking your head? What?
Oh, I should let Tommy answer the question, but the
Okay.
difference with what he can do in Texas is unusual is that they deed it. And that's what triggers the
But you could deed. You
1031
could deed.
like kind exchange is the
Right.
deed.
But
So
he can deed all of it. He can subdivide all of his land in any level, right?
yeah, you can deed mineral rights, and I'm to my knowledge, all 50 states. I mean, there are certain states that don't let you own it, like Hawaii. Recently learned that.
Oh,
But
okay.
technically, they can all be severed and deeded. It's just sometimes the government retains ownership, like in Hawaii. But and it's not on federal lands. But as far as my expertise goes, I'd be able to probably find you somebody that would get you those answers. But my primary network is limited to oil and gas primarily, but I'd be happy to put some feelers out there because I've gotten questions about helium. I've gotten questions about lithium and other elements as well.
There
Those
you
are
go.
mineral rights. They can be deeded all the same. There are some minor exceptions, but generally speaking, yes.
But
And it would
Tommy,
be
don't the
considered like
states
that.
determine if it can be deeded or not?
I think all states can be deeded.
Okay,
Because even in Hawaii, I think there's a small handful of exceptions.
okay. It's just
Usually,
that Texas is actively already doing it and not all the states are actively.
and then the other, yeah, that's pretty much that's a fair paraphrasing to my
But
understanding.
you do have a lot of states that do oil and gas as well. So
That's right.
no, they're doing it.
Because
Yeah.
I know in the past, the acquisition team that I coordinate with, in the past they've had properties in West Virginia, Ohio, North Dakota, Wyoming, Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is
Um,
pretty interesting. I love this topic, Tommy.
I have
Glad you're
another
here.
I'd be happy to
question.
chat more about it.
Paul.
Tommy, I have a question. So
Yeah.
you mentioned some of the returns could be 12% to 20%, but you mentioned the price of oil, per barrel has a lot to do with that.
Yes.
And obviously in our country right now, a drill baby drill, they want to go get that liquid gold under our feet.
Yeah.
So assuming oil may come down over the next 4 to 5 or 6 year period,
Sure.
how cyclical is, like, if I wanted to go invest a $500,000 with you,
Mm-hmm.
how cyclical has it been? I know past performances aren't indicative of future results,
Sure.
but is this like, hey, over 10, 20 years, it does pretty good. A low year would be 6%.
Sure. Yeah, and that's a fair question. It's actually one of the more common questions I get, especially lately, right?
Yeah.
Since November at the latest, right? But typically, we're not seeing too much short-term volatility projected. I mean, a black swan event, I can't predict that kind of stuff. I don't have a crystal ball.
Mhm.
But generally speaking, with this drill baby drill rhetoric, there's also been some other sentiment amongst the players in the oil industry, like Exxon, Chevron, Conoco, et cetera, where it's like, well, our efficiency's gone through the roof over the last 10 to 15 years. There's fewer wells now than there were like 15 to 20 years ago, and production is higher. So the efficiency and the technology's improved greatly over the past 10 to 15 years. That's one. Two is, yes, if supply does increase, even if it's just slightly or if it's significantly, if all the other variables stay stagnant, yeah, you're probably looking at a price decrease. However, with his drill baby drill mantra, he's also looking at countries like Germany and some other countries to, hey, you're going to buy from us now, and we're going to make it to where it makes sense for you. So if you're increasing supply along with the demand, you might see some price stability, but that also assumes they increase equally, right? So you're looking at a lot of variables there. We do project out and we can forecast at different price points of oil. We typically shave like 20% off of the current oil price for our projections, or the estimated production. Because again, those are the two variables, is the price and the production. So typically we shave about 25% off of that. And if the deal still makes sense, that's when we acquire it for the portfolio. So we try to be conservative. We try to underpromise and overdeliver because we're not in control of those variables. It's something we keep an eye on, is the long and short of it. Can't guarantee price fixation, right? And you know that, you said that yourself, but that's typically how I address that. We look at a conservative model and we can adjust the models based on you or any client's particular preferences before they make a buying decision.
Barbara.
Yes, we have something similar to it, in which it is, and Blair's on, he's from Pennsylvania as well. So I know some lands were cabins and out in the mountains, in which I know the one property, it was, there was a 99-year deed separate for the mineral rights of a property. So they bought the property, but there was 10 more years left in the mineral rights for the property that they bought before that ended. So we have something similar, between your fracking and coal. I mean, all of those variables. But of course that is applicable to our state.
Yeah.
So, and does this information that you're sharing transfer over and so forth? And also, can you put your contact information in, since you're not in the EXP workplace yet. So if you could put that in.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, I am. I'm working with
Yes.
Eric right now to get that a little cleaned up. So my legal first name is William. I'm not sure.
that's
William,
why.
William, Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll put it in the chat here in a moment. But yeah. So my full name's William Thomas Bracci. Never gone by William my whole life, but when I get onboarded on new systems, sometimes nobody bothers to ask me, and that's okay.
Blair.
But and I think there's a question you had in there about like leases expiring. That's a case by case or sometimes a state by state basis. It depends on what the terms are for who that lease reverts back to. There's some instances where it might revert back to another entity. Sometimes it'll revert back to the state itself. It just depends. But if you have a particular client, I'd be happy to have a landman take a look at it.
Blair?
Tommy, maybe I missed it, but does this also work in other elements like coal?
Yes, it can. But again, I would defer specifics outside of oil and gas to someone else, just because my focus and expertise is oil and gas. But if it's deeded mineral rights, the answer is yes. So if your deed entitles you to the subsurface and the minerals and assets that are in there, sometimes there are some deeds that have exclusions on certain things. But generally speaking, you own everything to the core of the earth, unless there's an exception in there. And coal is one of those resources, to my understanding. But I could get you an answer on that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is excellent, Tommy. Glad you're here today.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Nancy and Samantha were talking about you can deed mineral rights and they're great 1031 identifiable properties. And that's what he specializes in when it comes to the real estate side of what he does.
Yep.
So
That's my niche.
all right. Anybody else?
Wait. Should we be buying land in West Texas or should we just buy the mineral rights?
I'll be honest with you, there's not a lot going on out there right now.
Yeah.
A lot of tumbleweeds, they call them haboobs. I'm not sure why, but that's a dust bowl. It's like a big dust storm. I'm being a little dramatic when I describe it generally like that. But there's usually not a lot going on the surface out there. And in Texas, you might recall I said that mineral properties, if you exclusively hold the mineral rights, there's zero traditional property tax, just that ad valorem tax. If you own the surface, now you're subjected to that traditional property tax. So while you wait for something to happen over the next 10 to 50 years on that property, you're going to be hemorrhaging property tax every year. So that's also what makes this asset class pretty attractive. Not every state treats mineral rights that way. I know West Virginia treats it similarly, but I know in Texas, you don't have that property tax, that traditional property tax eating away at your cash flow like you do in traditional real estate.
All right. Anybody else? We good? Wow. That was excellent. Almost 30 minutes there we spent.
Yeah,
Which
thanks
is
for
great.
the 5-minute, 30-minute
No, it's okay. No, it's a great topic. We need to know. It's recorded. Getting this out to more EXP commercial people for you, Tommy.
Absolutely.
Listen, so I'm glad that Tommy agreed to be my speaker today. Worked out great. So, okay, Barbara, you're here with Church Guy Network. Let's just take advantage of you being here today, and you can just tell us something. What's the latest and greatest? Because we are continuing to add EXP commercial people into our companies right now. I don't know if you noticed that these first 3 months of the year, go back to all of our workplace page postings and emails. We've had quite a few join us already, and we got more coming. So not everybody knows about the Church Guide Network, and might as well just put it on this recording again and send it out, right? Go ahead, Barbara.
Sounds good to me. Well, we have a whole slew of things that we do at Church Guy Network, from buying, selling, leasing, license agreements, which is kind of like shared space. And our newer, bigger project is community development initiative, in which we have churches that are getting on board, and we have one we started in which they're using their land. That 42% of churches have unused land. So in bringing the community back to the church, they're using the land to have affordable housing, and through a feasibility study, what else is needed in the community? Do we need a doctor? Do we need a coffee shop? And kind of combining all the efforts in the same area that the church owns, plus bringing income into the church. So that's a whole other topic that, if anyone's interested, we'd be glad to explain in more detail. So we have a lot of growth going on in so many facets with EXP, and just as a result of that, we are just growing with leaps and bounds. So the platform in itself is fantastic. I'm going to also transition into Blair, because we have an IRL coming up here in our area.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Don't get into that yet.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. But here's another thing. For those who are watching this recording later, the other big plus to the Church Guide Network is the valuable resources they have for funding, for churches who need funding. And we all, if we dealt with churches and banks and lenders and stuff, we kind of understand there's some nuances there. So it's a great resource for that as well, Barbara. Yep.
You are correct.
Okay. All right. You can segue into Blair now.
All right. Blair, your turn. Take it away.
Got it. Thank you. We are doing the Northeast Regional Commercial Real Estate Property Summit. We have a very excellent core of speakers, commercial real estate professionals from across the United States, quite frankly, ranging from North Carolina to California to, good Lord, Washington to, I can't think of where everybody is, Maine.
New York.
New York.
Massachusetts.
We've got professionals coming from all areas, and they will be focused on how to survive in a recession, or how to recession-proof your business. And for those that have not been through that particular quagmire, it's something that you should want to know, because it is brutal. I've been there, done that. It's not fun. And every one of the speakers is going to touch on that, give their perspective on how to protect yourself. And every one of the speakers has been through a recession, except maybe Tom. I'm not sure. And maybe Tom has as well. I don't know that. But it's going to be some very valuable information that gets shared, along with how to use AI in your business to increase your business and improve your bottom line.
You want to throw that flyer in the chat?
First, Valley Forge, Pennsylvania.
You know, throw your flyer in the chat to get recorded. It's May 1st up there in King of Prussia, right?
Yes, Valley Forge.
Valley Forge, okay.
Hey Blair, what is the price to attend that event?
For which?
For the event that you're hosting, the price?
Registration
Yes.
50.
at this point is 50.
Does that include a breakfast or lunch?
That's early bird.
Okay.
Yeah, breakfast and lunch.
That includes a reception the night before, as well as lunch the day of.
That's cheap. You got to raise the price.
Oh, it
It's
goes
early
up.
bird, Paul.
Trust me, it goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question because, you know, we do these in Nashville and we've been doing them for 3 years, and we're looking at, you guys are inspiring us, especially Eric and Keith in Atlanta, to kick them up a lot and just do even a better job, more people. And of course we get sponsors, you know, banks and lenders, title companies, but does anybody have any thoughts on, and this would even be for Tommy, the new guy there in Texas, when you hear or see about events, whether it be CCC or commercial events, do you feel if something's a little too inexpensive, it might not feel like you're getting enough, or is there a price point where, hey, it's too much, I'm not going to that? But, you know, I'm kind of feeling like $100 plus sponsors would be good, but anybody have a thought on any of this?
It depends on what I'm looking to get out of it. I put on a lot of networking events unrelated to being, I have an industry agnostic networking event that I put on quarterly. That's free. And if you're looking to attract or contact, you know, high net worth individuals, that's probably not the most optimal place. So with that being said, you know, if you're looking to attract elite clientele or some kind of elite deal flow, you know, typically a higher price point attracts higher, the people that can afford and want to pay are going to be the ones that can write those checks for you for the larger deals.
Correct.
I don't know if that answers your question, but it just depends on what you're trying to get out of it. If I'm looking for, you know, private investors in mineral rights, I'm probably going to something that, you know, costs $1,000 to get in the door, you know, but it just depends.
Eric, what are you
Anybody else?
seeing down in Atlanta there?
It's all about added value. And it needs to be, you know, I think when you have a specific talking point, I think it's great. But sometimes that can also limit because you may want to approach different things. But it's also hard to coordinate. It's hard to bring everybody in. I think the overall effort is to keep doing things and to be in the room with great people. And regardless of whether it's a fit or not, you know, if I can get up to the event in Pennsylvania, just being in the room, something good is going to happen from that. So, yeah, it's hard to define and build and create the perfect event. And it's hard to always have the right speakers, but I think I just want to applaud the effort to have people getting together who are forward thinking, industry disrupting individuals who are moving forward and trying to bring others along with them. To me,
Right.
that's the most important piece. And when you get the perfect event exactly right, congratulations to you. It's hard to do.
Yeah, and I'll agree with that in the sense that I'd run the full spectrum on that. I'll go to I even put on my own free events, like I mentioned. I'll attend free events, I'll sponsor events, and I'll go to events that cost anywhere from, you know, $50 to, you know, a few hundred or sometimes occasionally a little higher, just because it helps me cast an umbrella of who I'm networking with, one, but two, you know, it keeps your presence there in more circles. And you just never know. You're 1 degree of separation away often from what you're looking for, even if it's not the perfect fit for that event.
Anybody else?
Tommy, your contact information is the EXP commercial email. I don't see a phone number, or is that the
Oh, Looks
email
like I
to
need to update that. Let me put that in the, I'll put that in the chat and then I'll see if I can get my profile updated.
Yeah, and Tommy, we do a lot of these Zooms. I've been on them for years. If you could put possibly either your city or that you're the mineral rights guy, 1031 guy, when we're watching Zooms and we see that, you're gonna stand out because you're the only guy I know that's
In your
doing.
name, Thomas, rename yourself on Zoom.
Yeah,
Take care of all these little housekeeping.
just a tidbit for bringing more business your way.
No, I'll take it. I appreciate it. There we
Eric Clark's got an ICCIM there.
I want to say it's just fantastic, Paul, to see you here today. I haven't had a chance to see you, brother, since, my gosh,
Really?
what a start to the end of the year and start to the year. Really refreshing to see you.
Thank you.
I know many of us were praying for you and holding you up. So Godspeed to you. Continue good health. And I know you're eating well because that is one kitchen that I love.
He's eating smart
And I
now.
know exactly where you're sitting, and it's close to the kitchen. So I know Lisa's taking good care of you.
You're spot on, spot on. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of prayers, and I recovered quickly. I wasn't like Keith doing jigsaw puzzles for 3 months. Keith was yelling at me, "Stop working, relax." But thank you. Thank you.
Keith just wanted to drag it out, so he had a good story to tell.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm
Yeah,
looking forward
Tommy,
to
I
seeing you
want
on
to say,
that
I want to say to
rally.
Tommy here too, Tommy, I mean, we got a really small group here and you can see the conversation. So again, the enforcement of casting this net to the broader family, tremendous added value to you. Check your inbox. I just sent a couple out.
Perfect. Appreciate that very much. I don't think my Zoom's going to update mid-call, but I got that updated for us.
Yeah, it can. It can do
Oh,
that.
perfect.
Yeah.
Then and
Save.
also I got my direct line and my email address in the chat. I'll update the workplace here momentarily.
And I agree with Eric, Tommy. Just with the Church Guy Network, Dan Klatt, who started that, was in Las Vegas. And through jumping or joining EXP Commercial, there's 200 referring agents just in this niche. So how quickly the connections and collaborations happen naturally and snowball, and it's beyond EXP as well. Obviously, he works with other agents, but you can't match it anywhere. It's just, it takes on a form of its own. So
I love
welcome.
it. Yep. No, and I appreciate all that information and the warm welcome. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
So who's got announcements to get on this recording? And then it goes out to everybody. Anything anybody wants to announce?
Yeah, I'll throw something out there. You're
Go,
going to
baby.
You're going to be hearing us talk about Thrive Co-Workplace. Thrive Co-Workplace is in 18 cities now, 6 states. They're going to be coming on board on the commercial side, and we're going to be looking for their venue is unlike anybody else in the co-working space. They've created an atmosphere that's just unbelievable. They're going to be looking for organizations that have already got an established working location on a main street strip where the nucleus of the community is at. And if you know of individuals who have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 co-working spots in a tight niche community where things are really growing, headhunt, let me know, and we can have some conversations. And or if you know a developer who has a great 15 to 20,000 square foot building on Main Street where everything's happening, contact me. We can put them in touch. This model, they're seeing unbelievable returns to the principal owners. We're going to be rolling it out across the country. You're going to be hearing more about it, but I don't want to go into more depth about it now, but just kind of earmark that. And as you see it popping up, feel free to contact me.
Yeah. Thrive is THRIVE. You want to mention their website? I know it if you want it. Work at thrive.com. Work at thrive.com. All right. Anybody else got announcements? I know we do, but go for it.
Yes, Nashville, September 19th. We'll be hosting our IRL mastermind, and we're working on some great speakers. So far, I've got some commitments from some of the key players. Thank you, Eric. We're gonna try to emulate your Atlanta, big night the night before. Of course, what Blair's doing too. We used to do more of that private party, but we're gonna try to bust it open and just have a lot of time to promote it and get some great speakers. So if you're in the middle of the country here in the Tennessee area, you want to invite agents, advisors, people from other companies. It'll be a great networking time as well as
You could actually invite them from anywhere in the country, especially if you're
Yeah.
working with trying to bring them to the EXP commercial. Doesn't
Right.
matter.
Well, what's that date again?
Friday, September 19th will be the event. The night before, we'll have some kind of gathering. And we're possibly putting together an event on Saturday morning. Pete Middleton, who's one of the executives in our luxury division, has a great golf course community that he has access to. I think it's a Arnold Palmer golf course. We might do a golf outing that Saturday morning.
Well, I was going to say, if you did a private event on the 18th, I'd make sure I was going to be there.
Yeah, you
Well,
gotta get up
18,
there
19,
earlier.
20. If you could get to town the 18th, 19th, 20th,
Yep.
leave on the 21st.
Yep.
I'm going to have to drop off. Everyone be blessed. I gotta go. See ya.
All right.
Good seeing you.
Any
Yeah.
other announcements before I turn off the recording? Don't forget the regional rallies. Don't forget the commercial regional rally segments in Vegas, Dallas, Houston, and DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia. So it's May 1st, May 8th, May 12th, and May 14th. Nancy.
Are you guys working with the sponsors of the regional rallies to promote EXP commercial? And if so, how are you doing it?
I contacted 2 different regional rallies outside of the 4 that we're going to be doing commercial with. To let them know that they need to let commercial be there as well. Paul's done it before with the Nashville one. Yeah, Jay Ashley understands. He understands commercial so about us. So it's a matter of you reaching out to the organizers because you got one in Seattle, right?
I've got one in Seattle and got one in Portland. And
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
organizer for the Portland, who happens to be my sponsor, she's very open to promote the commercial. But I wanted to know if leadership is willing and able to help with the branded logo stuff, assets.
Yeah,
And-
just reach out to the marketing part of the EXP commercial.
marketing
Yeah,
part.
that person I think is Courtney. I think Courtney is our marketing person. Yeah, Courtney Kreider. Say Courtney, the organizer of the Portland one, we need stuff for commercial, so help me, Courtney, that kind of thing.
Courtney Kreider, right?
Mhm.
Okay, great. I will reach out to her. Thank you.
Because the leadership is going to be in Vegas, Dallas, Houston, and DMV. The EXP commercial leadership is going to be there.
Do you have the date for the Dallas rally in front of you?
Yeah, that's the 8th.
May?
And reach out to Daniel Ing. He's one of the organizers. You know Daniel. Reach
Yep.
out. Okay.
Perfect.
You can actually find it, Tommy, on the workplace. Actually, no, go to a website. It's easier. The website is exptoolkits.com/US regional rallies. And you'll see all the cities. You click on any of those, get your ticket, reach out to Daniel if you want to ahead of time, whatever you want to do. So he's organized in Dallas. I'm going to go to the Houston one. In case you want to pop down to Houston as well. That's 4 days later.
Yeah, that's not a bad drive for me. You said exptoolkits.com/US regional rallies.
Yeah, does that pull it up for you?
Let's see.
Keith, while he is doing that,
Let me turn off the, can I turn
John-
off? What? You want this on the recording or off, Blair?
just
Okay, I'm gonna turn it off.
no, that's fine. John is going to be at our PA event, our Director of Commercial Operations.
Right. Okay, great.
Download
It's May
turnover.
1st. Okay.